We have two types of widgets, which are stateless widgets and stateful widgets. Now, let's explain what a stateful and a stateless widget are. Stateless widgets are immutable. Once created, they cannot change their appearance or behavior. We use stateless widgets for static content. So when you're creating a UI that the content is static and won't be changing, we make use of a stateless widget. And how do we do that? We simply come here. Let's remove the scaffold from here. And then we can give this a name and call it my stateless widget. And then we can come down here outside the void main method. And then remember, we can just say st and then stateless. Then we can give this my stateless widget. And just like that, we've created a stateless widget. Then inside the build method, we can return the scaffold now. And let's display a static text. Just going to come here. We can have the app bar, and then the app bar text bar, and this text title. And then we can have text, which we can display our static text, which is stateless widget. And then can still add the body, and then we can add a text widget. We can say I am a stateless widget. And let's enter this text widget, factor, and then center. And let's save this. And now you can see on my mobile app screen, we have a static text. So this is a perfect use case for a stateless widget. Now let's look at the stateful widget. Stateful widget, on the other hand, can change dynamically. They are ideal for content that updates, like counters, forms, or user interaction. So let's say you're building a mobile app and you expect the UI to change based on change in the data that we are giving to the UI. Then the best widget to use for this is the stateful widget, so that anytime the data changes, the UI rebuilt itself. For example, now let's look at what I have on the screen here. I have counter and I have a value of 0 initially. When I click on this button now, you can see that it has increased to 1. When I click it again, you can see it has increased to 2. Let's go to our code here. You can see that I have a text widget which takes counter and then a counter variable here. So this counter variable initially was set at 0, but anytime we make use of the elevated button, which takes the function increment counter, which we have here, the UI rebuilt and then the value is being updated. So on the screen here, I have the void main method and the runout method, which takes material app, and then on the home, I have my stateful widget. And then now we have my stateful widget, which extends stateful widget. So by extending the stateful widget, it has access to the create state method, and then we are overriding the initial create state method, and then we are returning an instance of my stateful widget. Every stateful widget needs to define a create state method. And what's the purpose of the create state method? The first one is that it tells Flutter to create an instance of a corresponding state that holds the widget mutable state. In this case, it creates an instance of my stateful widget. So we can see now that we have a return type of underscore my stateful widget state, and then we have my stateful widget state returned to this create state method. And then let's look at what my stateful widget state is. My stateful widget state is a private class that is denoted by the underscore prefix. It extends state of type my stateful widget. And what we basically do here is that it is within this class that we define the mutable state variable and logic for my stateful widget. So the variable that the value is going to be changing, will define it inside this underscore my stateful widget state, and also the logic which we are going to apply for the value of the variable to change, we also define it inside this my stateful widget state. And then after that, it takes the build method, which I already explained. When the Flutter built the my stateful widget, it calls this method, the create state method, to instantiate the my stateful widget state. And then the my stateful widget state provide a build method, which you have here, which then defines how the UI should look based on the current state. So now, in order to rebuild my UI, I have an elevated button here, which takes the method which I have created inside the my stateful widget state. So anytime I click on this now, what simply happen is that the variables which we have created, which initially was 0, we make use of an increment. So we say counter plus plus, and then it changes from 0 to 1. And then another important thing is the set state method. The set state method lets us rebuild the UI with updated data, making stateful widget perfect for dynamic content. So what this simply means that anytime our data is being updated, we need to put the updated data inside our set state method, and as a result of that, the UI will be rebuilt based on that updated data. So we have our counter increment here inside our set state, which is inside our function that we are calling inside the elevated button. So anytime we call this, anytime we press this, the method is being called and the counter value increase, and then the value is being updated and the variable is being updated, and then we have it displayed here. So I can click on this, and then we have 3. Click on this, we have 4. I click on this, we have 5.